What is up, cool kids? My name's Gavin, I'm the Cool Trainer, and just a small channel update about a new project that we're working on. Yesterday, at the time of filming this, I was lucky enough to have been asked to join a draft-style battling league. That's actually the group chat from it right now. A couple YouTubers, I believe 6, were in a just like a draft battle league on Showdown, and one of them dropped out, or they haven't heard from them in a while. Like weeks, so, to the point where it was kind of absurd, I guess. I don't know any of this like story behind it. I don't really care to know. I'm just glad to be involved. But they decided to ask me if I wanted to join and take that person's place. So of course I said yes. If you've been around the channel for a little while, I mean, I haven't really talked about it in a while, but I tried starting a draft league back in like December-ish. That didn't pan out. I tried joining one in March or late February, somewhere around there. That didn't pan out as well. So I've been wanting to do this for a while, and I'm really glad that I got the chance to be involved, so thank you guys so much if you see this. Now, I was kind of at an advantage and a disadvantage because, like, a lot of Pokemon that I wanted to draft were already taken. The way the draft works is that you draft 3 from OU, UU, RU, and NU. So you have a team of 12, and you can pick any given week, you can pick any given 6 of your Pokemon based on what you think your opponent will bring, because you know what Pokemon that they have access to. You know they're 12. And you get allowed 1 Mega, and it has to be that Mega. So like say, I use this as an example, I didn't actually draft it, but say I drafted Mega Alakazam. I could only use Mega Alakazam, I could not bring like a Focus Sash Alakazam. There was no restriction on Z moves, and there was basically the only rules other than that were no Ubers and no Ultra Beasts. So obviously, more than happy to be involved. So like I said, I was at a little bit of a disadvantage because some things that I wanted were already taken. So, but I mean, that's just how draft leagues are, but it's kind of different not even being like given a chance to, but I get it, I'm coming in late, it's no biggie. But I was also kind of at an advantage on the other hand because I knew everybody's entire team already. So if there was one thing on each team that like really scared me that I'm like, man, I need to shut that down, I could pick something that just really shut it down. So it was, you know, kind of a, you know, pluses and minuses, I guess. But I think I came out of it pretty well. So I'm going to throw up right here our logo, actually, that's what I'm going to do first. So we are the Cortland Red Gyarados. I kind of stole the mascot from my college. We are the SUNY Cortland Red Dragons. I'm actually, I'm wearing a SUNY Cortland shirt. But yeah, so I just kind of remodeled it with a Gyarados, you know, red dragon. I like it. I thought it was kind of punny. A lot of the bigger leagues do sort of like sports themed, and my school's very sports oriented, so I think it was kind of fitting. So now on your screen, you're gonna see a picture of what was drafted for OU. So I'll talk about my thoughts about what has been picked. So first of all, Joe Schmo Gaming. I'm honestly terrified that I don't know why like during the draft people let that happen. Like when you see Excadrill being drafted, personally I would choose Tyranitar immediately so that those two are not together. And then to get Zapdos on top of it too, that's really mean. So based on OU, so far Joe Schmo Gaming is kind of my one to watch out for. But then again we have J2 Tapu Lele, Mega Char X, and Magnezone. Also, all 3 solid picks. Everything on here is really solid. So Arsenal Weavile, picking Weavile early. That was smart. Weavile's really good. Mega Venusaur from Hitmonchan, also really good. Mew is probably the best, one of, if not the best Pokemon in League format, Draft League format, because it's so versatile, and that's really what you want in a draft league. Because you can change the set each week. You can basically just do whatever you want with it. And with Mew, you have so many options that it's just incredible. So those are what everybody else picked. So here's what I picked from my OU and UU picks. So my first 3 picks, because it's no, for me it wasn't like I said, it wasn't really draft, so I picked all 3 of them at once. Actually, I picked all 12 at once, but I went through Showdown and like picked and choose which one I wanted. Tapu Bulu is, in my opinion, it's my favorite Tapu. I think Tapu Lele's a little better, just because its stat spread suits it better. But Tapu Bulu is honestly terrifying. What are Tapu Bulu's stats? Like, look at that. It's not the fastest thing in the world, but with 70 HP, 115 defense, 95 special defense, it's pretty bulky, especially when you have max HP investment. And like on these, I don't have any sets on them because I don't want to give away any of my secrets. That was awful. But yeah, you can just do a lot of things with Bulu. You can make it bulky, gets a lot of good support options. I think it gets aromatherapy, but I'm not sure. It does not get aromatherapy. Heal Bell? Nope. Okay, well, either way, it's got base 130 attack. Wood Hammer in the Grassy Terrain hits so freaking hard, man. Its special attack isn't phenomenal, but if you throw choice specs on it, it's viable to make it special, because then you can actually make use of its Fairy Stab, give it Dazzling Gleam. Energy Ball is going to hit pretty hard in the Grassy Terrain. It gets Leech Seed. This has a lot of really interesting options. It gets Whirlwind to phase things out. Substitute, Subdance, Bulu is a really terrifying thing. It's access to a lot of interesting moves. Disable, really interesting. Bulk Up, really useful. So Tapu Bulu, I think, is going to be an all-star on this team. And that moves us into another Pokemon. See, Bulu was one that was picked by the person who I replaced. And I could choose from anything that he had picked or anything that had not been picked at all yet. So I am shocked that Rotom-Wash was not picked, because Rotom is just, where Bulu, you pretty much know what it's going to do. It's going to be bulky, it's going to hit super friggin' hard, and you're just going to want to, the only thing that is going to be able to take it in, like, realistically, is things that resist it, and even then, those are going to take some pretty hefty damage without too much investment. Whereas Rotom, you don't really know what's going to happen with a Rotom, because other than its attack, all of its stats are pretty good. Well, that's HP, but let's not talk about that. You could run it defensive, you could run it specially defensive, you could run it specially attacking. With it gets a really good amount of coverage moves. It gets Dark Pulse, Discharge, gets some Paras, it gets Hex. I mean, it's not Stab anymore, but it goes to base 130 base power. If something has a status which goes pretty well with Discharge, or just Thunder Wave, or Will-O-Wisp, or Toxic, which it always gets. Trick is also a really useful move. If you give it a Choice Scarf or Choice Specs, you can trick that onto something else, obviously. But you can make use of a Choice Spec set with like Volt Switch, Thunderbolt, Hydro Pump, and Hidden Power Ice, or something like that. Yeah, so many things you can do with Rotom, and it's immune. That's something else that I really wanted, was I wanted to get a good amount of immunities. I wanted a lot of my Pokemon to be immune to something. And I think everybody on this set here is immune to at least one thing, except for Volcanion. But actually, Volcanion is, because it has Water Absorb. So each of these 6 has at least one immunity, with Tapu Bulu Dragon, Ground, Psychic, Water, Poison, and Ground. So pretty nice, pretty nice. We move on to Greninja, another one which I was shocked that nobody had picked up. I didn't ask, because I'm not going to use Battle Bond, but I assume that Battle Bond Greninja is banned, but I chose basically just non-Battle Bond Greninja. Another really versatile Pokemon, because, yeah, its defenses are trash. But with Protean, where everything is Stab, even a base 95 attack is going to be good enough. It's so versatile. It gets so many moves. It gets Gunk Shot, it gets Acrobatics, it gets Low Kick, Ice Punch, Ice Beam, Quick Attack. Water Shuriken, I think, got a buff in this gen. I'm pretty sure it did. It gets Spikes, it gets Toxic Spikes. Do you get Spikes? Yeah, so it gets Hazards, you know. You can have it be a fast hazard setter. There's so many good things to say about Greninja. The only bad thing is that it's frail with 72, 67, and 71 defenses, which even, like, are not the worst that I've ever seen. But Greninja, fantastic, fantastic Pokemon. Shocked nobody picked it. And then, I don't know, again, another one where I'm shocked nobody picked is Volcanion. I'm kind of rambling. I'm going for 10 minutes already, wow. Volcanion. Really slept on Pokemon. Another one that's really versatile. Because it's not super fast, only base 70. Its attack is 110, special attack is 130. So you could, again, another Pokemon you can run mixed, or, you know, physical band, or specs, or scarf. Really, so many things, because you can, I think it's lacking physical water stab, which is kind of a bummer. But it gets things like Explosion. It does get Flare Blitz. I checked before I picked it. It gets Haze to get rid of stat changes. Overheat. So you could run mixed with Overheat. Sludge Bomb, Sludge Wave, Steam Eruption. Fantastic move. It's only a little bit better than Scald. Yeah, it's only got 95 accuracy, which kind of stinks. I guarantee that 5% will make a difference at some point. But it's got 30 more base power and the same chance to burn. So pretty great. It gets superpower, toxic. It gets just a lot of really good moves. And you could also run it as like a physical wall, because it's got 80 and 120 for defenses on the physical side. And even special defense is still pretty good at base 90. So Volcanion, very, very solid mon. I'm glad that I picked it. And I also need a fire type, because if you look real quick, right here, it might be a little hard to see. Yeah, not too bad. But yeah, that is my only fire type, and I noticed it because I didn't actually have Volcanion in my first set that I had thought of at first, because I picked who I wanted, and before I sent it in, who I actually wanted, I'm like, man, I don't have a fire type. Oh yeah, so we're into UU, so I'll throw the UU picks up right now. I'll talk about that real quick since I'm here. Where are they? UU. Okay, so it's Goodra, Vaporeon. Goodra, I'm sort of worried about Goodra, because it can be really defensive or it can be really offensive. Again, like a versatile mon, you can run it many ways. Scizor, I'm worried about. Infernape, I'm worried about. Sylveon, I'm worried about. There's just a lot of good threats in this round. I really wanted either Donphan or Starmie, because I love having Rapid Spin support, but it didn't end up happening, so oh well. Alright, so enough about that. So we're back to my UU, because I don't want to make this video take 6 years. So then we needed Fortress, and I thought to myself, I'm like, what is probably the best Rapid Spinner available? And I thought to myself, I'm like, I do really like Rapid Spin Tentacruel, because, fun fact, if you haven't seen any of my VGC videos, Tentacruel max speed outspeeds Tapu Lele. And if Tapu Lele also already has chip damage from Hazard or something, a Sludge Bomb will kill it, or Sludge Wave, whatever. Yeah, Sludge Wave will kill it. So, fun fact. But I decided to go with Fortress instead, because Fortress gets access to all 3 kinds of hazards. I think the only one it doesn't get is Sticky Web. Yeah, it does not get Sticky Web. But it gets Stealth Rock, it gets Spikes, and Toxic Spikes, and Rapid Spin. So if I really wanted a really trolly set, I could just have 3 hazards and Rapid Spin. Don't really like to do that, but it's definitely an option. You can run it. I haven't seen it work great, but you could run offensive, like physically offensive with Autotomize. You know, when you're at double speed, say you do speed plus nature. I'll give you just knife. So you're at 196 speed, goes to a little under 400 speed with Autotomize. Not too shabby. But yeah, it gets Volt Switch, it gets Struggle Bug to lower special attacks. Pretty sure it gets Struggle Bug. Yeah. So, really good option. Just a very, very solid Pokemon. And we have Pokemon that resist fire in Rotom-Wash. And some Pokemon on this side that can handle fire a little bit better than it can. So I'm not super worried about fire. Plus there's always Akaberry. You can give it to weaken fire type attacks. So very, very glad that I picked up Fortress. It's a Pokemon that I've worked with before, and I'm super excited to have it back in the squad. And then Crobat, another Pokemon that I'm shocked nobody had taken. Because it gets Defog, it gets U-Turn, you can run it offensive, you can run it bulky. And like its stat spread doesn't really scream this is a bulky Pokemon. But it's kind of a bulky Pokemon. If you run it, you know, max HP and then split defenses, it'll live a hit. It'll live a hit pretty well. And it's nice having something just this fast. Because I think, let me look. I think the fastest thing other than it drafted, somebody has a Jolteon. Yeah, there's a Jolteon. There's an Excelgor as well in RU. But other than that, I think the next fastest thing is Weavile. So there are a couple fast threats out there. But for example, that's something Joe Schmo Gaming did not do super well, so he didn't do his speed tiers very well. I think the fastest thing on his team is, I think, Sceptile, which I think is only like 110. J3 Squared, I think his fastest is Gengar, and Gengar is base 100, I believe. Hitmon's got Liepard. Liepard's kind of fast, I think. I really don't know. Arsenal Weavile's Mega Manectric, which is really fast. Weavile's fast. Excelgor. So, I think. And then PC Bloodmaster has a Jolteon. But other than that, it's pretty. Most of the teams are pretty slow, which is pretty reflective of the meta right now. But basically, what that means is I only need to run as many EVs on Crobat to outspeed their fastest Mon. Or conversely, if I know I'm not going to outspeed it no matter what, like the Mega Manectric, like the Excelgor, I can take IVs out of speed and make it so I outspeed the next fastest thing, and save some, put them in HP, give myself a little bit more bulk. It gets, like I said, great things. Defog, Haze, you can run it special, not super well, but it gets a lot of good special coverage, because it gets Dark Pulse, it gets Giga Drain, Heat Wave, Nasty Plot, it gets Pursuit, which is always super useful, Super Fang, Tailwind, Whirlwind. So Crobat just really versatile, really great utility mon, or it can be even offensive if you want it to be that way. So there's my OU and UU picks. Now we're moving on to NU? RU. I get the lower tiers confused. So let's look at what the rest of the people picked for RU. So something in RU that I wanted, that I kind of had my eye on, was hoping nobody picked, but obviously somebody did, was Silvally. Like, the Silvally's so versatile, because when you pick it, you're literally picking 18 Pokemon. It can be any type. So that was something I was a little disappointed was taken. Flygon as well. I was really looking at Flygon, but that was taken. Drapion is really slept on. Excelgor, super fast. Kingdra is always a big threat, especially if you can manage to get the rain up. Yeah, so I was like, well, let's pick something that I haven't really used before and something that I know can do pretty well. It's another kind of one-trick pony, which is really not what you really want to go for in like I said, in Draft League. But I went with the Golisopod, because look at the, like, how can you not with these stats? Like, if you give this thing an Assault Vest, it's incredibly bulky. Like, it can eat so many hits. Or if you give it a Life Orb, on the other hand, First Impression is going to do so much damage. With base 90 stab with a Life Orb from a base 125 attack, it's going to hit pretty hard. This thing gets all sorts of priority. It gets Aqua Jet, it gets First Impression, it gets Sucker Punch. As a good, it gets Liquidation, which is a fantastic new move. It gets Spikes. Sword Dance, Toxic, you name it. Rock Slide, Leech Life. I don't think it gets Lunge, which is a nice kind of utility move. It doesn't. I don't know. Its special attack is very bad, so I would never run this thing special. But it does have some decent special options, I guess. But yeah, like I said, kind of a one-trick pony, but a very good pony. Emergency Exit works pretty well in the context of first impression, because it's like Fake Out and that it only works the first turn. So, pretty useful. Definitely pretty useful. I think Glisspot's going to do pretty well on this team. It's incredibly bulky. If I run it, you know, full HP, and then like 96 special defense, and then the rest in attack, that's going to be super, super bulky. With, I think it's got the same base defense as Fortress. Yeah, it's got the same base defense as Fortress, which is wild. Yeah, that's pretty much Gliscopod in a nutshell. So then we have Gligar. I wanted Gliscor, but I couldn't really justify getting it that early in my UU picks, so I decided to go for its little brother. Its stats are a little bit underwhelming when you look at it, but when you give it an Eviolite, it gets so much more bulky. It is a lot bulkier than Gliscor. The only downside is it doesn't get the instead it gets immunity instead of Toxic Heal. But like I said, because I'd give it an Eviolite instead of a Toxic Orb anyway. And immunity makes it so it can't be Toxic Salt out. Sand Veil's kind of nice for when I'm playing against Joe Schmo with the Sand Core with the Tyranitar and Excadrill. Again, another Pokemon just gets a lot of fun things. It gets Baton Pass with agility. I didn't ask if that's legal. I will. Hone Claws is a nice move. I'm pretty sure you get Defog. Yep, you get Defog. And Dream Eater? Okay. Haze? No. But Defog, hazard removal is always fantastic. And that's something I was also very keen on, is getting a lot of hazard removal. Because right now I have 3 with Fortress, Crobat, and Gligar. Because I like to hazard stack people. Because you also get Stealth Rock. Spikes? I doubt it. No. Toxic Spikes? No. So, another hazard setter, potentially. Yeah, just a very solid mon. Pretty bulky. You also get Tailwind. Just looking for something else to kind of fill out, because I really love bulky offense. That's generally how I play. So Gliscopod is very much my style. Tapu Bulu is very much my style. Volcanion, very much my style. So I feel very, very, very comfortable, very familiar with this team, even though I haven't used very many of them. So now onto Espeon. Again, another Pokemon I'm shocked hadn't been picked yet. For Gligar and Gliscopod, I kind of understand, because they do have their flaws with a 4x weakness to Ice, and just being really slow, and with a potentially pretty problematic ability. But Espeon, I love Espeon. For me, there's no reason not to draft Espeon, because we have another method of not necessarily hazard removal, but hazard deterrence. Because knowing that I have an Espeon kind of makes you think twice before you set up your Stealth Rocks, because I can switch it in and basically put them up on your turn, or on your side. It's also a really strong special attacker with, you know, the same attack and better speed than Gengar, I believe. Let me look that up real quick. Gengar. Yeah, it's got the same offensive stats as Gengar with 130 and 110. Yeah, you can run it. Do you get Trick? You do. It gets Trick. It gets Trick Room if I wanted to, because a lot of my team is kind of slow. So I could run a Trick Room with Espeon as the setter. I believe Uxie also gets it. Yes, it does. So that's also a possibility that I didn't even think about until just now. Very strong special attacker. Potentially if I get some baton passes going on, if that's legal. Stored power is a thing. So that's also very, very, kind of scary. Very, very scary. Bars. Yeah, not much else to say about Espeon. Very solid. Magic Balance, a great ability. Synchronize is also a pretty good ability. So that is my RU picks. Let's go to NU. What do I have for NU? NU. I've played around in NU a little bit, but nothing crazy. Obviously, there's one Pokemon I know I was going to pick. Can't go without Zangoose. You just can't. So what did everybody else pick for NU? Again, Joe Schmo, Weezing, and Miltank. Fantastic Pokemon. I believe Torkoal. I don't believe you can have Drought in NU. I believe Drought makes it become at least UU. I'm not sure. But again, Torkoal, Assault Vest. I believe his only form. Oh no, he has Zapdos. But another form of hazard removal because he gets Rapid Spin. And that's something that I noticed about a lot of people's team is that they don't have a lot of hazard removal. Because I think he's the only one. Well, no, I guess Hitmonchat's got Scizor with Defog, and then Rapid Spin with Hitmontop and Claydol. And then, but mostly, like, I see some hazard stacking coming very, very well. J3 Squared, he drafted Kingdra the round before, so between Kingdra, Poliwrath, and Lapras, you have a pretty nifty little Rain Core, depending on who your setter's gonna be. The Magnezone can take advantage of that with Thunder as well. So I would have drafted either Politoed or Pelipper with this team. But you never know. And Masquerain, Intimidate can be huge. Masquerain is really undervalued, and it got a buff this gen. Chimecho, I really have no idea what Chimecho does, so I'm not going to comment on that. Liepard can be pretty useful. Claydol explodes and rapid spins. Swellow is incredibly dangerous. Choice Specs, Scrappy Boomburst Swellow is terrifying to me because it's got base like 123 or 124 speed, so it's going to outspeed pretty much everything on the field except for my Crobat. And then just Boomburst and kill things. Gastrodon, I'm super sad that Gastrodon was drafted because I love Gastrodon. With it having 2 immunities in Electric and Water because of Storm Drain, plus getting a +1 special attack from Storm Drain. Makes me kind of sad. Regirock also explodes things, sets up rocks. Kind of self-explanatory. Garbodor? I'm not sure how I feel about Garbodor. Toxic Spikes, I guess. Non-Mega Kangaskhan. Not really sure what that does. That's going to be interesting. And non-Mega Pidgeot. Again, not really sure what it does. Going to be interesting. So we have Zangoose because it hits like a truck with Toxic Boost Facade. Basically, there's really not much else to say. You protect first turn, you get poisoned, you Facade next turn. Does incredible damage. Because I just like talking about this. Let's go to Facade. So Facade, it's base 70, doubles in base power if you're burned, poisoned, or paralyzed. So it goes to base 140, and then with Stab goes to base 210. And Toxic Boost doubles your attack if you are poisoned. So base 210 move, coming off a 130 or 361 attack stat. A lot of things are gonna die. Plus it gets priority with quick attack. You can run close combat. You can run Shadow Claw, so you're not totally walled by ghost types. It gets disable. It gets double edge. Ice Punch, Knockoff, Low Kick. It just gets a lot of pretty useful moves and such. Moving on to Uxie, look at those defensive stats. Uxie, definitely a very solid cleric. It gets Heal Bell, which is very important on a team. It can set up screens. What else? Trick Room, like I said earlier, Stealth Rock, Substitute, Trick. Just a very useful utility mon. So not much else to say about Uxie. Bulky, utility, pretty much it. Then my last pick, I was just like, I'm gonna have fun. So I picked Bastiodon, Pokemon I've never used before, and I frankly don't really like it as a fossil Pokemon, but I've never used it before, and that's kind of the point. Where it's bulky as crap. Like, look at those defense stats. Its HP is meh, but its defense and special defense are outstanding. Another Pokemon that worked really well in Trick Room, it get another Stealth Rocker. What if its attacks are equal? No, its attack is a little better. But you can spam Blizzard and hope for freezes. It gets Outrage for some reason. Magic Coat, again, same thing with Espeon with Magic Bounce. Makes you think twice about setting up rocks on me. Gets Roar, Taunt, Toxic. I think the only thing it doesn't really have is a good source of recovery. So this will probably be holding leftovers for a majority of the time. It gets Sunny Day, and I believe it gets Rain Dance as well. Yeah. So, also having weather on a number of my Pokemon, especially when I'm facing Joe Schmo, is going to be kind of interesting because it'll mess up his. I've been talking about Joe a lot this video, but it'll mess up his sand core going on. So sorry, this was kind of a long, drawn-out process video, but I just want to express my appreciation to all you guys. Thank you for inviting me to join you. It's something I want to do for a very, very long time. I'm super glad that I'm finally getting the chance to do it. So thank you. So let me know what you guys think of the team. I'm super excited. If you guys want me to try out any stats, drop those in the comments below. A little friendly rivalry, because I know, at least at this point, a good portion of my viewers are the people I'm playing against. So yeah, any sets you want me to play, anything that you think I should look out for that maybe I didn't see when I had the graphics up there, let me know. And if you enjoyed this video as much as I did, please like and or subscribe. Follow me on Twitter and Twitch at ThatCoolTrainer. And until next time, smile later.